hi everyone, and a really warm welcome to the very first official Blab of Green Umbrella marketing clients as well, and our guest bloggers. Do you know, we've actually got over 60 guest bloggers for the Green Umbrella marketing website throughout the year, and we've got web developers, marketers, and a whole bunch of other people who work in this sort of space. We thought we'd get them online, and people that have just blogged for us in the last month or so, and just talk through some of the blogs that they've been talking about. But before we transition over to the first guest blogger, which is Kevin Robinson, I just want to introduce you to the wonderful, the amazing. Is that right? Am I doing that?
Yes,
I'm here.
Okay, I have no idea where it is on mine. She's down there, but hey ho. Christina Robinson, how you doing, Chris?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay.
I don't know why I've asked you how you are. I know you're fine.
Because we're actually in different rooms, so I had to move out here, otherwise we've got a bit of an echo. So for those of you who've never been on a Blab before, you can see these little hands just in the corner. I'm pointing to
Other
mine.
corner.
Okay, they're called props, so it's a bit like giving applause. So you just give a bit of a prop to people if you like what they're saying, and it just gives them a bit of an incentive to go. Christina, for some reason, is also holding up a monkey, and I'm sure she's going to explain the reasons why she's holding up a monkey.
I was actually drawing attention to the props.
I've got something for you, Julia, as well. Based on that podcast we did recently, I thought you might want this in.
This is a duck-free zone.
I know, that was just really, really strange. So I feel a bit lost because I haven't got my giraffe with me, but I'm sure we'll move on to that. So anyway, in your own words, Christina, just want to introduce yourself and explain about the podcast.
Okay, so like Julia said, we just thought this would be a really good opportunity to talk a little bit more about some of the guest blogs that we have come through. My role, if you like, here at Green Umbrella is to keep Julia on the straight and narrow. So she has all the exciting ideas and I'm the boring one that goes, really? Are we really going to do that? But how? And then have a little bit of a panic and then we just make it happen, don't we? So
absolutely. Well, I tend to as well talk forever, and we really get into a topic and conversation. So Chris is there just to keep us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, I'll be giving you a little squeaky warning so that you know that the segment's almost up, and then we can move on.
So we're going to run into 3 different segments. So the first one, we're starting off with Kevin, and welcome to Paul. So Paul Green has just joined in as well. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Julie. All right?
Yay, and your audio is fine as well. So please give Paul some props. Yay.
Scary stuff, this technology, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you've got your 2 pence list as well, when we get into the conversation that Ked's going to be talking about his topic, then please feel free to join in. Okay, so today's first guest is the creative guru himself. That's Kevin Robinson. And Kevin runs an audio and video production company in Daventry called 13 Media Arts. In fact, Paul knows him as, what do you call him, Paul?
Mr. Video.
Mr. Video, the video man.
He calls me other things as well.
Yeah, I do call him other things, but that's probably not appropriate for this Blab.
No.
Okay, anyway, Kevin is here to talk about his latest blog, which was on the Green Umbrella site, which is Why Creative Thinking is Mainly Planning. So, Kev, we've got about 10 minutes to sort of chat about this topic. Do you want to just give us a bit of an overall about what this topic was about?
Yeah, I mean, what it was, there's a thing that sometimes people have where they think that creativity, the process of creating something and...
You bored him already.
Paul has left the room.
Well, that's me done then. Everybody's a critic,
Was it that bad, Paul?
When you got to go, haven't you, Paul?
I'm back, don't worry.
But what it is, there is a process, and we get called this word, these creatives, and it's a word that I'm a bit uneasy with because the creative process is planned and it's structured. It's no different than somebody doing their to-do list for the day or whatever. And there's a process that you go through. And what the blog was about was it was actually talking about one of the ways that I know kind of works for me, where you can take an idea for a video for a client, and no matter what that idea is, if you go through the process, it tends to push you down, kind of force you down the right route to a video that works.
Absolutely.
And it's ISTIP. Anybody who's done any psychology or possibly sociology would have come across the term. It's called ISTIP.
ISTIP. Okay, so
ISTIP. Jeff Petty was the guy who came up with the theory originally, and it stands for Now, you know how bad my memory is, so bear with me.
Have you written this one down?
You could have sent me the link.
I could have sent you the link. Basically, there's 6 stages, and what it is, you start with the I is for inspiration, and that's a it's not a wild flash of inspiration. You know, Terry Pratchett, I know in one of his books, said that little pieces of inspiration kind of go through the universe like sleet, and occasionally they hit the right person and they come up with the light bulb. But he also said most of the time they just hit a confused duck. You know, and it's not like that. You know, inspiration is about sitting down and going, okay, well, what am I going to talk about here? Who am I talking to? What's my message? What am I going to say? And the idea of the inspiration bit is that you generate ideas. You don't worry about it. You know, you just generate these ideas. Christina was saying earlier about she keeps you in check. She's a pond skimmer. What she does is, you know, those bath bombs.
A pond skimmer.
Yeah. Hold on a minute.
It's a compliment, really, Christine.
Yeah.
Are you saying that I'm the algae on top of the pond?
Kind of, yeah. But you know, but me too.
I like that.
Green.
You know,
Keep going, Kevin. Keep going.
Where's that kick button?
Okay. To continue to dig this hole deeper, you know those bath bombs that you get from Lush, and you throw them in a bath, and they throw glitter all over after your kids have had them, and then you have to go in with an industrial cleaner to get it off afterwards.
Yeah.
But it leaves that stuff on the surface, all this shiny stuff on the surface, and that first bit of the process, that I bit, you know, that inspiration bit, is about just being like a bath bomb and just throwing stuff out to the surface. What you then need is a pond skimmer like Christina, who comes along to the pond and skims off anything useful. You see, because that's what we're not good at. We're good at the ideas, and we're good at throwing it out. And that's you know, we throw this stuff all the time, but there's a different skill that somebody like Christina has, which is to recognize which of those ideas are possible. And the problem with sometimes being a solo person trying to do that is you don't have the Christina, you don't have that gateway to tell you where to go. And the I-stick process, you know, the next bit of it is clarification. You know, so you throw all these ideas out and you go back to that question, you know, I've generated all the ideas. What is it? What am I saying? What am I doing? And that starts to get rid of them.
But what do you do, though, if you don't have somebody like Christina? So say if you are like a one-man band, I'm sure Paul's got a good response to that with regards to perhaps having a business coach or something like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's hard just working on your own and developing your own business. And whether you pay for a business coach or whatever, I think there's people around there that can actually support you in business and help you. You know, so if you're in a networking group, there might be somebody that's got a particular level of expertise that's just willing to sit down with you and just help you out, you know, give you a few hints and tips and things like that. But I would say just go and get someone that you can use as a peer or a mentor, just to test out ideas on, just sort of like check in with, just to really share views with, because when you're on your own, you're stuck in your own little office, you're doing your own thing, you sometimes can't see the wood for the trees, and often, you know, as a business coach myself, sometimes what I'm doing is just sort of stating the obvious sometimes, but you know, sometimes that can be an epiphany for the person I'm speaking to. So yeah, I'd recommend anybody to get someone that they can just bounce ideas off, shoulder to cry and ear to bend, that sort of thing.
But Kevin, are you saying, Kevin, though, that you shouldn't really ask like another creative, otherwise it will just sort of spiral out of control? So, like, say if me and you got together, probably nothing would actually ever happen. We'd have all these wonderful ideas and all these great plans for the future, but nothing would actually happen.
Well, I think we probably better ask Christina that. I mean, she's witnessed that. I think we're quite controlled, aren't we, Christina? Me and Julia, when we're together.
It's like marbles. It's like someone's dropped a pot of marbles and everything's gone everywhere. There's like ideas flying off everywhere, and the thing is, I think, you know, coming back to you having a business coach, having someone that's objective, is that it's someone that can stop you going down that path and bring you back to actually, what was the initial idea again? You know, and because we can talk and talk and talk for ages, but then actually not put an action plan in place. So
yeah, absolutely. But I mean, the thing is that, you know, what I was trying to get to, I think, in the blog was this, you know, that it's not always, unfortunately, it's not always possible to have that sounding board, you know, and as good as that sounding board is, and Paul's entirely right, and you know, anybody who knows the studio here when I'm working on my own knows better than not stick the head around the door, because they'll lose hours because it's somebody to talk to, you know, especially if I'm in the middle of that the first bit of that iStick process, first bit of that creation process, because this is brilliant. Look at this. It's I don't know, a statue of a gnome or something. You know what I mean? And I'm full of ideas. But
don't they lock you in your room and just sort of till you're done and let you out afterwards?
Yep, something along those lines, Paul.
It's the interruptions.
It would, yes. It's not going to happen though.
So what else do the other letters stand for?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So clarification then is where you kind of filter that down, and then what you do is with the clarification point is you really get to the heart of what you're trying to get to, and it does start to maybe knock a couple of the ideas off, but you still should have this great big mass of ideas. And then you go to distillation, and what you do there is then you generate.
I'm just telling the audience that's me telling people to give Kevin some props, because he's only on 22 and we're all on 60, so please give Kev some love.
I don't want pity ones.
Thank you.
I thought you were starting a Mexican wave, Julia. For a minute.
I was trying to figure out which way it was supposed to go, whether it went.
Look at that now I'm missing out.
But yeah, the distillation then is where you start to get rid of it. You get rid of a lot of the ideas that aren't going to work, and by that point, you've thought them through. In fact, a lot of people at that stage who do use this as a kind of structure will get down to one idea. They'll have finished. I tend not to. I tend to leave 2 or 3 in because I know I'm not great at that distillation process. So I'll leave some in so I can still play around with it later. So that's the D. The I is incubation. And what it is the incubation is where you sorry, I missed E, didn't I there? Yeah, evaluation, you look back over what you've done. You sit and you go, am I on the right track? Yeah? You stop yourself and have a look at it. And then it comes to the interesting one, which is distillation, which is where you take everything you've got and you go and put it in a drawer and walk away from it. Because it's not going to happen anymore. At that stage, all you're doing is pushing yourself too hard. It's that thing of you put so much work and you put so much effort in. That you're not creating anymore. You stop doing it. You block yourself. It's kind of giving yourself a kind of writer's block. So you walk away because you let your subconscious do it. Your subconscious thing, and you now and again you pick it up and you think about it while you're doing other things, and you go and do the accounts or you do your credit control, whatever it is you do. And then a day later, as soon as it comes up again, you feel the right moment, and then that's when the last word comes in the P, which is perspiration. That's when you do the work.
Perspiration, yeah, that's true. I think I miss the incubation period out because I get so excited and I just storm ahead. Oh, that's it. This is brilliant, and I tell the whole world about it, and I forget to actually reflect: is this actually right for my business? Or
it's so easy to do that
because you get excited about it. Yeah, it's like
absolutely. Try it. Trust me, it'll work.
We were just talking about the system we use a project management system, but they've just increased the price from like 25 quid a month to like £200 a month. It's going up in January. So I was all on a bit of a mission saying, we need to go and have a look at some new things. And I was on a mission looking for new project management tools. But there's actually nothing else out there that is anywhere near as good as what we're using at the moment. So then I have to evaluate, the time that it takes. This is the incubation period. We haven't looked at how long it would take to transfer all the stuff that we've got on one system over. What are the pros and cons? I just got excited by the pretty things that look like on Trello and stuff like that. That's much prettier. Yeah. That pulls me back down to earth and says, yes, but it doesn't do this functionality, Julia. It doesn't do that functionality. And can clients use it? And blah, 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 blah. It's like, so she forces me to do that incubation period, which I think is great.
Yeah, it is important. And I mean, and a lot of that, and you say you don't do it. I think one of the things that happens sometimes is people do this out of order as well. There's no real need to do it in a particular order sometimes.
Because, okay.
You get that thing, you wake up in the middle of the night, everybody gets that and they go, brilliant, and they've had this fantastic idea, and then they look at it in the morning and they've written it down and it says start a bicycle company or something. It's just some nonsense you came up with in the middle of the night. But your subconscious is a really powerful tool, but the problem is sometimes we blot it out. It's all getting a bit new age. It's not. It's a scientifically proven thing. This, that your brain does all these things that we blot it out with all this white noise through the day. The day at work, the chat to the guy next to you on the next desk, and the cup of coffee with the woman from down the hall. And all these things are this kind of white noise, and you need that reflection time. Okay. Paul, I see, but it's not just about the not about making videos of paintings or writing novels either. You know, Paul, it's what you do is just as creative and just in its approach and just as innovative in its approach as somebody trying to write the next great, you know, British novel. It's a problem to be solved, I guess, is what I'm getting to.
Okay, Christine, just to ask, have we had any questions in the live chat that you perhaps want to?
Not so far, although Pixuma's just popped a comment in, literally. If you can see it there, find with all ideas, whether it be creative work or new ideas for my business that are time away from it's very valuable. And it is, you know, what Kevin was saying, that reflection time. I think that's sometimes the reflection time is telling other people as well and getting their viewpoints on it and, you know, their instant reactions to it, whether they're jumping up and down in excitement or thinking, you know, what's he going on about? You know, it's, I think that is important, but
it's difficult because you don't want to poo-poo their enthusiasm for a particular, but you need to be, you know, for a project or whatever, you need to keep them enthusiastic about it, but at the same time, give the reality to it.
Yeah. Just a quick note. If anyone has got any questions, on the right hand side, you can see you can pop a message in there. If you just go /Q and then type your question in, it will just highlight the question for us as we're going through.
Okay. Another quick tip as well, if you like Blab and you don't like the black, I'm not keen on black on the right hand side. I think you can go /light, LIGHT, and it will change it to white. So have a bit of a play with that. That's how it was originally on Blab, but now they changed it so you've got this black background. So if you prefer white background with black writing, then just go / and then light, LIGHT. Cool. Okay. So have we done with that?
That's time. Yeah.
Cool. Right, Kevin, I think we need to. I need to kick you off now, unfortunately, and we're going to let Lee in because Lee's the next one in. So you can stay with us, Paul, if that's okay.
Yeah. Tom Stevens just applauded me being kicked off there.
Hiya, Tom. How you doing?
Harsh, very harsh.
Okay, and hi, Mark from Pixuma as well. That's another name that I saw there. Right, I'm going to say goodbye. He's got the most. He's got 300. Someone's giving him love there. I think that's Mr. Lee Jackson saying, "Get off."
Yeah, you're in my spot.
I'll make way for Lee.
Okay, right. I'm gonna.
Okay, thanks for having me on.
You out.
You don't have to get out of the chair, Kevin.
Hiya, Mark. We're waving back to you as well. Okay.
I'll stay. I might have difficult questions for Paul, so I'll stay online.
Great. Thanks. We'll see you more.
Just remember /Q.
Okay.
Right, kick. Go on. Okay, Lee, if you can click on. Brilliant. Straight in there.
He knows what he's doing.
Hopefully his audio wasn't working earlier, so hopefully it's working now. No, it's still not working. Oh, no. Lee, can you go on to Blab on your iPhone?
See, it just goes to show you that size isn't everything, isn't it? Having a huge, great microphone in front of you.
He's asked again, so I'm just going to knock him in. So you two talk amongst yourselves.
Lee, can you hear us?
He can hear us. Can we hear you, Lee?
How good are you at sign language?
Couldn't Lee Jackson get a big mic? He has got a big one.
That might, unless it's supposed to say a bigger mic.
So, Lee, I don't know if it's something to do with your computer, but if you can, what we'll do is we'll probably change round and we'll do Paul's first, and then, but if you can stay on anyway. Oh, he's gone.
I think yeah.
This is live. You can't beat a good bit of live TV.
Talking about things being live, Julia, would you be able to change the title on the Blab as we move into the next thing? I don't seem to have the option to do it.
Okay, I think that's because I need to make you co-host.
I'm not important enough yet.
Right, what we're going to do now is speak to the wonderful Paul Green. Have we known each other, Paul, now?
Quite a few years.
It has been a fair few, isn't it?
Must be 5 years, I think, when I first met you, when you were talking about giraffes, farts and things.
Oh God, I've been talking about giraffe farts. For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about,
a fart is, you know, when you're standing underneath a giraffe and it farts, it goes straight over your head. So sometimes when we're talking techie stuff, it can be sort of going over people's heads, and that means they're having a giraffe fart moment. So that's what Paul's on about. So anyway, Paul is our guest blogger. He's also a business coach, and he runs the best networking scene in the NN area called NN Connect. In fact, I say the NN area, you've also got Milton Keynes as well, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a sister group in Milton Keynes, yeah.
Okay, so how many groups are there now? Because, I mean, you sort of cater for absolutely everybody.
There's 5 breakfast groups that run across Northamptonshire. There's a ladies group. I don't run that for obvious reasons. And there's also an evening group for people that don't do mornings and can't get up. So we offer an evening group. Actually, where I am today, the Chain Walk Club is where we hold the evening group. So I've just commandeered one of their rooms for a bit of peace and quiet to do this. My first Blab.
The Chain Walk, that's actually quite a really good building as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a lot of history associated with it. I don't know the full history. You can have little guided tours by some of the people that have been members for longer, but it's just a great venue. It's a little bit different to the normal sort of concrete jungles at the hotel lobbies and things like that. So yeah, so I thought I'd adjourn here for the lunchtime.
And the other one is Stannet Lake, so I think that's an absolute wonderful.
Yeah, beautiful location. Well. Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, I try and find something a little bit different, just so it's a bit different to the norm for a venue.
Someone was telling me the other day, actually. Do you go for some sort of walk as well after the
meeting? Well, the weather's a bit harsh now, but when it was sort of when we had some summer after the NN Connect Stannet meeting, after we'd had a hearty breakfast, then about 8 or 9 of us just used to go for a 40-minute walk to burn some of the calories off. So it dwindled a little bit as the weather got harsher, but hopefully we'll be able to introduce that at in the springtime when the weather's a little bit better. So it's a lady called Abba who's a health and wellness coach. So she sort of hosted that, which is quite nice. It's almost like additional networking in a different context just after the main formal one. So that worked quite well.
Idea. That's how I got into Nordic walking, was a networking thing that we was doing with
with
Rollisons many, many, many years ago.
Yeah.
But walk and talk and a bit of exercise, walking off that breakfast, which is what it's all about.
Well, we're not quite up to Nordic walking yet, just around the block.
Or nerdy walking, as my husband calls it. Okay. Anyway, you're going to talk to us about the 9 traits of successful people have. It doesn't have to be the 9, but talking about what is it that successful people have, and there are specific things that you've sort of highlighted.
Yeah, well, I like to work with successful people, and also like to encourage people being successful. And where this actually came from, where this article came from, it was actually a video that I'd watched, and it was a Harvard Business Review video associated with a blog that someone had done. And just a lot of the points they covered, I think, captured what I believe makes businesses successful. So it's a little bit plagiarized, but if it's already been invented, why reinvent it? So hopefully it's a lady called Heidi Halverson that compiled it, so that's where the credit is really due. But like I say, it sort of matches the sort of views that I have. So and this don't use any particular order per se, but the first one is set specific goals. I'm a big believer that if you, and you're very good at this, Julia, I know, because I think you publish your plans for the year, which I think is quite a brave thing to do. But why not? If you've written the goals down in the first place, and you're willing to share those goals with people that are around you, or even your customers to an extent, why not? Then at least they know what you're trying to achieve. And so having that written down, that's the first sort of step really, is to sort of have those specific goals written out. And then the goals is one thing, but then you've got to track your progress. So what do you actually do in order to make sure that you're delivering on those goals? And of course, with each goal, there's probably going to be associated measurements. So if you want to do an extra 100k turnover in a year, break that down into bite-sized chunks, measure it on a monthly basis, and you can see you're actually going to walk towards that. And it's funny, I find, I meet some business, they say, we want to turn over an extra 100k, absolutely fine with that. And then when you say that's like £2,000 extra turnover a week, and then their face sort of changes, if to sort of say it's a mythical figure that you think you're going to achieve, but of course you've got to track your progress and make sure you're heading towards it.
Be realistic about that. Paul, can I just ask you, are there different? How do you set your goals? Do you do that using some sort of app? And I don't know if there's anybody in the room that wants to join us and just help out with this conversation as well. It might be interesting to see other people's. Mark from Pixum, if you wanted to jump in. Oh, we've got Lee back again. Okay. Yeah,
what I tend to do, and now's the sort of ripe time, really, sort of at the end of the year. At the end of the year, I'm the beginning of a new one, I assess what I've achieved. And I've just got, when you talk about a business plan, some people think like War and Peace. My business plan, I think, is 2 pages of A4, and it just looks at the different aspects of my business, and it sets out some goals that I want to achieve. And some of them I might look at on a weekly basis, some I might look at on a monthly basis, others might be quarterly. It just depends on what that measure is. And then at the end of the year, let's see how I've achieved. Have I met some of them? Haven't I met some of them? And what do I need to do differently next year? So it is all about tracking it and evaluating it. And it's just write down, if you've just got 5 goals you want to achieve for next year, write those goals down and look at the actions you need to take, the now actions, the next actions, in order to move it forward and achieve that objective. Because it's not going to happen by magic. If it does, then that's just luck. But why trust to luck when you're trying to run a business?
Do you think you should do that for business as well as personal as well? Do you think the two go into each other sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, there's it's hand in hand, isn't it? A lot of business owners are one person bands, so the goals can apply to you personally in life as well as your business life. Whatever you're comfortable doing, really. And of course, there are business coaches, there are life coaches that can help you either way. But just whatever you're doing in life, if you're going to sort of start out on a journey, you're going to have a map, you're going to climb a mountain, you're going to sort of set some objectives and, know what you want to achieve. So, yeah, whatever you're doing, just have something written down, have a plan, or a map for where you're going in life and or in business, yeah.
But we've got a question, so.
Uh-oh. What's the question?
Oh, Christina, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, you can see me trying to...
Is that the one from Mr. Video?
Kevin, yeah, absolutely. So I think you said about your business plan just being a couple of pages, and I think a lot of people do sort of, think that business plans should be a longer document, and you should have all these different sections to it.
Well, there's different types of business plan. If you were putting a business plan together to try and raise, £2 million investment, it might need to be a little bit more than 2 pages. However, what I'm really talking about is a working business plan. What's actually going to move your business forward. So that could just be, as I said, just an outline of the key objectives you want to achieve, and more importantly, what actions are you going to take? What are the steps you need to do? What changes you need to make, etc., etc. But of course, if you're looking for an investment, or you're applying for a loan or a bank account or something like that, you're probably going to need something to be more comprehensive than that. But if we're just talking about, for most small business owners, a couple of page outline of what you want to achieve should suffice. Because, what typically I find is, you might have written your 20, 30 page business plan to get your bank account, and guess what? It's just sitting, gathering dust, filed somewhere. And, it's just a historic document, really. And unless you're using it to move your business forward, to achieve what you put in there, then it can be quite pointless. So that's it. Doesn't have to be War and Peace, as I say.
Okay, so the first one was setting your goals.
Yep.
The second one was
track your progress.
What's the third one?
Yeah, the one was seize your moment, which you sort of touched on when Kevin was talking about the incubation period. I mean, this probably applies to you. Sometimes people are successful because they actually take the opportunity when it approaches. And this sort of contradicts what I said with the first two, I guess, because sometimes these things will present themselves inside of a year and you haven't planned them and you haven't predicted them. I mean, if you look at NN Connect, I didn't plan for NN Connect to be the size that it was. When I started in 2011, it was primarily to raise my profile as a business advisor, and I didn't envisage that 4 or 5 years down the line it would be the size it actually is. So that's just because people like the format, so I grasped the opportunity. So it was just leveraging that and just expanding how I have. It wasn't something in this particular case that was a conscious let's grow it to 5 breakfast meetings, etc., etc. Now it's a little bit more consolidated. Now there's actually a little bit more of a plan. What can I do next? Are there any other groups to grow? Are there opportunities outside of the county, etc., etc.? So yes, seizing the moment can sometimes be important as well.
Seize the moment.
Yeah, fact, and the next one, which does. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, we was talking about, just me and Lee were chatting earlier on Facebook, and he was saying about his podcast that's just being launched. And sometimes you need to do that, don't you? Just get it shipped, said Seth Govern, and get it out there, even if you don't feel that it's 100%. Sometimes you just need to seize the moment and just get on with it.
Yeah.
There was also another wise saying from the guy from LinkedIn who said, if you're not embarrassed by the first product you shipped, then you waited too long.
That's so true as well. If you look at the early blogs that you've written, I cringe at some of the ones that
But at least you went for it instead of waiting until they were perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So spelling mistakes and all. I'm well known for that, by the way. But anyway,
a bit like this Blab, is that what you're saying?
Bit like this, absolutely. You know, sometimes you just have to jump in with 2 feet. We'll learn from this one, and the next one we'll do better. So, seize in the moment. Okay, what's the next one?
And then to balance that, it's being a realistic optimist. So I believe that we should all have a positive attitude, and we should all believe in what we can achieve, because a lot of us underestimate what's possible. But also you've got to be realistic about it, and you've got to understand the difficulties and associated problems or hurdles that might exist. So I'm not saying don't have big ideas, certainly have big ideas, but then be realistic about it. How can you actually implement those ideas? How can you move them forward? Do you need an external influence? Do you need to work with partners, etc., etc.? So it's be ambitious, but just have that element of realism. Because again, in my day-to-day business advice, you see these people with massive expectations, but they just haven't got the foundations on which to build whatever they want to build. And so it's just being realistic where you need to start and how you're going to grow things and how you're going to move things forward, which is the next point, which is about continuous improvement. So
continuous improvement. Okay.
So what can you do differently each day that will make your business better, either from an operational point of view or from a customer service point of view? So if you change one thing differently, did one thing better each day, at the end of the year, 365 things you would have done to improve your business, and it doesn't have to all be done in one go. So there's a number of different things you could do. If it was just a 1% increase in productivity or profitability or business, by the end of the year, that's 365% improvement. Breaking things down into bite-sized chunks and look at it from that point of view makes things a lot more achievable. And as my business has grown, I've had to look at how can I improve the booking system, how can I improve the communication system, etc., just to sort of make my business more efficient as it grows. And that applies to any business, really.
Okay.
We've had a comment there from Alerts Nick, he's put a few comments in agreeing with sort of what you're saying, Paul. But he's just said something there. I can't cook, so I could never be a chef. And I think that's quite an important thing as well with small businesses, and it's something that comes up in conversation quite a lot. Is like outsourcing, basically. We can't do everything, and sometimes those needs to improve or needs to work on certain things is just a case of actually handing it off to someone else that you trust to be able to give you the space to make the other improvements that you can do.
No, it's a good point. Building on that analogy, you can't cook, so you're not going to be a chef. But there's no reason why you couldn't run a restaurant, is there? You engage a high quality chef, you get the right establishment, you find a niche in the market. Because running a business isn't necessarily about doing everything yourself. It's about managing the business, and is being strategic about how you take a business forward. So what you're not an expert in, you can outsource, and I'd highly recommend that. If it's bookkeeping, social media, Julie, that type of thing, don't do it yourself. Just let someone else do it, because then you can focus on what you're good at, and in so doing you can sort of generate more business and for yourself. You should be a strategist and marketeer of your business, really. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses are the doers, and that's why they tend to stay small.
So, I could say, why is it that the smaller businesses tend to not want to outsource as much?
Well, it's a little bit of a fear factor, I guess, isn't there? Not invented here, or losing control. Some people are like that. Part of my problem is sometimes, I know what I do, but can I set up the process to give it to someone else to actually do it? So again, you should think about process and systems. How can you systemize your business, almost make it into a manual that then someone can replicate and do, and it's easy to outsource, and also it makes your business saleable. If your business is reliant on you as the individual, and you take you out of the equation, your business doesn't have any value. Yeah. So again, outsourcing or employ staff, there's nothing wrong with engaging people to do things, as long as that's in your plan and in your cash flow, and you can afford to bring someone on board. The benefit with outsourcing in the early days is they're switch off and onable. Not sure that's a word, it is now. So what that means is if all of a sudden the business doesn't quite go according to plan, you haven't got the overhead and the associated, inverted commas, aggro of having a member of staff, you can actually just sort of switch that resource on and off as you need it. So there's I usually say for smaller businesses, look at outsourcing some stuff before you get to the point where you think to employ someone, because that's a whole different scale to a business.
Cool.
Julia loves employees.
Absolutely. I tell you, I'm not very good at the delegation, though. I'm learning.
Yeah.
I find, because I like doing processes and procedures and all that sort of stuff, but I found one of the best ways of doing it is actually recording the process, literally clicking it and creating a video for something. We've got Lynn, who's been with us a couple of months now, and I do things in a certain way, like putting a blog onto your website. I like things done in a certain way. I like headings done in a certain way. I like, images done in a certain way, and all that sort of stuff. And for me, it was easier to click record me talking about exactly what I'm doing as I'm doing it, then go through it with her. But she's got it there to go. So, that's how I find it works
Yeah,
well.
video is a powerful medium now, isn't it? And screen capturing and stuff like that, so people can actually watch what you're doing, and it just makes it easy to sort of transfer that responsibility to someone else.
Cool. Just so Lee, just so you know, when you're tapping, we can hear you on the microphone. It's just like in my ears, really loud. Going,
yeah, how rude! Just leave that microphone alone, Lee.
It's because he's got a big microphone.
I've muted it. I've muted it. I was tapping in the comments in there, putting tips in. Sorry.
Right, brilliant. Yes, thanks.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we just sort of need to sort of move on to the next segment now. But just before we do, Lee, do you want to tell us about, was it Snagit or Snag IT?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can you hear me now? I've unmuted. And I'm not.
Yeah.
I apologize for your ears and everything. Yeah, Snagit is a tool that's available for both Windows and for Mac. On a Mac, you can automatically record your screen and talk, which is great, but you can't pause it, etc., with the default tools. So I use Snagit. It allows me to focus in on one particular screen, record everything I'm doing, talk into it as well, pause it when I need to, especially if I'm waiting for something to load. It's pointless spending ages on that, and that can make real quick, nice videos. And then I just drag and drop the MP4 out and send it in an email or put it in Dropbox. I must make about 10 videos a day because it's so much easier to do that than it is to solve the same problem multiple times on the telephone, because obviously I get a lot of telephone support.
I'm sure Mr. Video Man will totally agree with you as well on that side of things. In fact, he mentioned that, didn't he, Paul, during one of his 45 seconds?
Yeah, like frequently asked questions and things like that. There must be a lot of business out there must have the same questions asked time and time again. So, if you can capture that in a video, stick it on your website, stick it on YouTube.
Okay.
Jobs are good.
Is Snagit free?
That's the Snag. No, it's a free trial.
That's what it's called.
It's a free trial.
Then it's £3,000.
No, it's something like £40 or something, and it's great. It's for a one-off fee to be able to quickly put a process into a video. If you think of the amount of time it would take to make a Word document versus 60 seconds on a video, pays for itself.
Cool. Okay. Right, I'm going to move on to the next segment, if that's okay with you, Paul. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's fine.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add, which I wanted to cover, was the last point, if I may. It's just, and it's covered in this blog. It's have fun. There's no reason why you can't have fun doing your business. Obviously be professional, but there's no reason why you can't have a fun element. Because people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And I find humour is quite a good way of connecting with people quite quickly. So yeah, just have an element of humour appropriate in your business.
Absolutely.
Sorry, mate, I've taken a bit of your time.
That's cool. That's cool. I think it automatically.
Don't worry, because I'm the process queen, I built that in. A little bit of overlap.
Ooh, very clever.
I see what you did there, Christine. They're very sneaky. I like your style.
Lee's got a cup of tea. I don't know why I haven't got a cup of tea. No sugar in mine, Lee.
It's actually coffee.
Just pass the verge. It'd be good now if he could pass that mug to his sort of like, right, and then you took it and then you pass it down.
We should do that next time. Like, pass over the cup of coffee.
Julia, we're going to have some practice blabs just so that we can try and do that.
Absolutely. Pan down from the top. Mind you, does it all look different to everybody?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
That's the problem. Yeah,
you're over there for me.
We
Paul,
digress.
Are you happy to stay for 5 minutes?
Yeah, okay. As soon as it's Lee. Yeah.
Okay, so let me quickly introduce Lee. Lee is based in Northampton. Most of the time is found in his coding cave. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, Lee.
Yep, that's okay.
Every now and then, though, you do escape, and he's probably one of the best WordPress developers that I've met as well. So, please give him some props. And a really big warm welcome to Lee, who's going to give us some top 10 tips of some WordPress plugins. Now, I know Paul is also really good when it comes to WordPress, so I'm sure you've got some, your 2 pence worth would be valuable on this as well. So,
well, I'm an amateur when it comes to Lee, has to be said. I know a little bit about WordPress, but Lee surpasses it many levels.
Vice versa as well. It's absolutely here as well. So yeah, we're all going to learn loads from today, Lee. So over to you, mate.
Well, in my defence, you said the top 5 of the top 10, but I can do the top 10 if you really want me to.
Well, we'll see how far we get.
We'll see how much time. First of all, Mark Levy, hi buddy, miss you mate, and hi Sarah, because people are just sending messages in. Right, okay, well, let me just launch straight into it then. So I'm a WordPress developer. I've been developing on WordPress since 2003 when it first came out, because it was V2. So I know a lot about WordPress. Neil, who is in the room, would want me to know more about Drupal, but I'm sorry, mate. I'm stuck in WordPress. Drupal is equally as awesome.
Did you see the stats that were just
25% of the internet? Mic drop, but it's really expensive, so I'm not going to drop it. Right, so the first I'm just going to launch into plugins. Basically, if you guys have got a WordPress website, there are some what I think are essential plugins that you need on your website. And the first one is all-in-one WordPress security. Nobody wants to be hacked. Let's face it, nothing is perfect, and there are ways to get into anything. There you go, Neil.
Yes, Neil. Predictable, isn't he?
He is. So there is a plugin called All-in-One WordPress Security, which acts like a WordPress. It's a software firewall, essentially. So it's going to detect what type of activity is hitting your blog. But there's also a whole range of other features as well in there to disable any kind of standard known weak points, like somebody having their username as admin. So if you've got a username of admin, go and change it now, please. And advising you on your passwords, etc., and so on and so forth. And the great thing about it as well is it's dead easy to use. So you're just going through the left-hand side menu, and you'll see your security score slowly go up as you activate things. So it's really easy. And if you Google how to use it on the internet, there's a video right at the top where a guy has spent an entire hour showing you how to configure it. And then I've also written a blog all about WordPress security as well, how to hook in then a WordPress firewall alongside it, something like Security or Cloudflare, but that's kind of a whole other ball game. And I would challenge Neil to get his team to hack a site for me. I think we should do a Blab. I think we should do an hour Blab with Neil and get one of his guys to pen test.
We will get Neil on. Neil, you need to blog for us. And
we'll need to have like an arm wrestle as well, a Blab arm wrestle with me and Neil.
Get Neil on Blab. It'll be a good cure for insomnia.
Cool, but not now, because he will probably
now, Paul.
Beat me up with words.
Sorry, I take it back, Neil. I take it back.
So anyway, that's kind of deals with security. It's a common thing that I'm asked about all the time. Obviously, WordPress, it powers 25% of the internet, Neil, and and therefore, people are obviously concerned. It's a big target. People are concerned. So go check out all-in-one website security, and also iThemes which is something that's very similar.
We use iThemes.
Yeah, exactly, and it's also a very good system. Sorry, Karen.
Christina's just put the link to your blog in the live chat on the right-hand side. So if anyone was to click on there, all the links to the plugins that Lee's mentioning are in that link.
Awesome. Okay, the next one then is SEO. I'm not an expert at SEO, thankfully, but I know loads of people who are. But if you're running a WordPress website and you want to at least start to make some steps towards improving the content on your website, then take a look at Yoast. That's Yoast, Yoast, and that is exactly like toast but with a y. And the good thing about that is it gives you the ability to set a focus keyword and essentially then check your content against that focus keyword, and it'll give you lights and advice on how to improve the quality of the content on that page. Big disclaimer, though, it would never, ever replace somebody like Silverdisk, who are experts in
He's trying to get Neil on side.
I see what you did there, Neil. I see.
Lee. Oh, right. So, yeah, exactly. So go check out Neil. He's the guy at Silverdisk, and they specialize in SEO. If you obviously can't afford that at this point, then something like Yoast is, at least a good starter, because you're at least starting to adopt some good practices, but you should always get an SEO guy involved as well. There's also Mark Levy on the chat. He's an SEO specialist as well. Excellent. All right. Okay, so that covers SEO. Just wave at me if I'm running out of time. Formidable Forms. Everybody's heard of Gravity Forms probably, but Formidable Forms is its lesser known little cousin, which is cheaper and way, way, way more flexible, in my opinion. And
Does it
the great
integrate
thing,
with MailChimp and stuff like that?
yes, it integrates with MailChimp, all those. So it's got Zapier or Zapier, however you want to say it. We'll argue about that later, GIF or GIF. But the great thing about it, it's got Zapier integration. It integrates with a whole slew of mail applications, also with things like Stripe and PayPal as well. So you can put forms anywhere on your website. You can even put forms in widgets as well. They're all responsive out of the box. And for us coders, the nice thing is the code that's output is actually W3C compliant as well. So that may mean nothing to most people.
That's
I know
a
it means
giraffe,
something. Yeah, Tom will like it though. Who's on the call, and it just saves a whole load of problems trying to fix things in Gravity Forms that just shouldn't be there. But hey, now I also love Gravity Forms, so go ahead and check that out as well, because the support community around that is immense. So either or, but I prefer Formidable Forms for me. So that's to create contact forms, subscription forms, call to actions, registration forms. Think of a form survey, think of a form, you can essentially create it with Formidable Forms.
Excellent. Okay.
All right, I've got two left. Am I good for time?
Yeah, you're fine.
Awesome. All right. So we all know that in WordPress, the little WYSIWYG area, the little tiny box that you write in, looks pretty, but it's quite limited. And when you want to float an image or position an image to the right and maybe start to columnize your text and all the exciting stuff you'd love to be able to do, let's face it, you just can't. It's just a word editor. So go and check out Beaver Builder. Beaver Builder is,
that sounds like something you shouldn't be looking up on the internet.
Well, put WP in front of it.
I don't understand what you mean, Julia. Explain.
Neither do I.
Sorry.
No, don't explain. Beaver Builder.
Shouldn't do these live.
This is shocking. You can get 13 Media to cut that bit out. So Beaver Builder, what Beaver Builder is, it's essentially a plugin that gives you a front-end visual experience, which means instead of going into the WordPress admin area,
it's not sounding too good even now, is it?
Instead of going into the WordPress admin area,
Sorry,
I'm not going to resort. Instead of going to the WordPress admin area, you go to the front of your website and you can edit your website. Essentially live. You can drag and drop elements, you can put videos anywhere you want, you can create columns of text, and it also gives you lots of nice things like call to action boxes, integration again with things like MailChimp, all your constant contact, Infusionsoft, all your major kind of CRMs and email platforms, etc. ConvertKit, I believe, is in there as well, which is quite a new up and coming one. But essentially gives you the ability to create any layout you want. It's great for, as well, if you've got a designer within your company as well who wants to be able to mock stuff together within your WordPress website, or if you need to mock stuff together. But it also allows you to make landing pages as well. So essentially you get a nice Beaver Builder, and on the right hand side you'll have all the tools. You can drag them in, and it essentially works with 99.999999 and so on % of all themes as well, which is awesome. And it's quite low cost to just have it on one website. I've got a more expensive license for an agency because I've got tons of clients that just want to use it, and there's several blogs on my website, again, if you want to go and check out Beaver Builder and the advantages to your business, but also to other clients if you serve them with websites. So again, Tom, go check it out, mate.
I've got the last. Really easy to use as well.
Oh, it's insanely easy.
I've just written that one down.
You'd think as well, as a kind of a developer or a designer. I'm not a designer, but designers might be worried about it as well. But the fact is that people still don't know how to design. They need a good designer to create the design for them. Also, tools like this allow you to essentially create something that you can still keep people on brand with. So it's actually been something that I first saw as a threat, but actually it's been able to increase my revenue by incorporating this with websites and giving people extra features. So it's really exciting.
Great. Okay.
Cool, man. Right. So the last one, I don't think there's any connotations with this name. It's add to any share buttons.
What does that do then, Lee?
No? Okay.
It adds to any.
Literally, yeah. Basically, there are. All right, I'll tell you what it is. There are a slew of tools for WordPress that allow you to put a little kind of ribbon, as it were, of buttons at the bottom of your post or particular pages of share icons for Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, so on and so forth.
Like social sharing.
Exactly that. Except they're all pretty bloated. This one, however. Add to any share buttons is really, really lightweight. It means it's not very big file size and it doesn't use a lot of resource on your WordPress website. It's also got simplified settings, so it's really easy to configure. Like I said, fast to load. It's got a few icons that you can select, and it just makes it simple and easy to add some share buttons to all of your posts. I use it on my website and essentially use it for any client. And also it gives you like an extra drop down at the end if you want to essentially open people up to literally add to any social media platform I think you can imagine. I think it supports stuff in Japan as well if you really want to, but you'll put your main ones on there. It takes you about 3 seconds to configure it, slight exaggeration, and then it'll be live on your website, and it'll look pucker and it'll be responsive if you've got one of those clever sites that changes shape when you look at it on mobile. It's pretty awesome. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's an option. Yeah, there is. There's a pro option where you can add the counts on. But if people just want the freeloader. I don't know if you're
aware about talking about social sharing side of things, but with Twitter's latest update, I don't know if you've seen that. It actually was only implemented on Friday last week, but now if you've got social sharing tools on any of your websites, the Twitter accounts will have disappeared, so you'll have numbers against LinkedIn, Facebook, and all the rest of them. But Twitter have pulled that. What they're doing is they're making the developers pay for that service to get those statistics. So you need to probably check your website now to see if your social sharing tool or plugin actually supports the Twitter account. If not, you just need to have a bit of a hunt around for another social sharing tool that does. So it might be interesting to see if that one does support it.
Good job. I've got no clients that need that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Sometimes I think it's quite good, from a statistic point of view. Coming back to your thing you were saying, Paul, about planning and measuring results. Things like seeing how many social shares. If you've got an article that's shared more on LinkedIn than it is on Facebook, that's where you need to market that article more. So having Twitter accounts, being pulled is actually, I don't know if it's a good move from Twitter or not. I don't know why.
They got to make money somehow, though, haven't they? That's their problem.
Yeah, I think it's
because they are struggling, aren't they?
They are a little bit, yeah. So cool. Have we got any more there for us? We've got a little bit more time.
Oh, sure. I can share tons with you. So, all right. So some people who may have installed. So I'm going off script now. So anyone who's installed the latest versions of WordPress, they may have found that their WordPress is automatically updating, which is actually terrible if you think about it, because it could update overnight and you'll have an error message all evening because you had a plugin that's no longer compatible. So have a look at Easy Updates Manager. That's actually in the link. You can, if you're really brave, you can set it to automatically update your website every single night, as well as all the plugins. Good on you. Right. If you're more careful, then you can actually set it to disable certain types of plugins, certain plugin updates, but also core WordPress updates, so that you won't have WordPress updating overnight to 4.4, which is due out in a few days, and you might find, your website doesn't work as you expected it. Because it's always a good idea to go ahead and do any updates on a clone of your website. Usually your hosting provider can provide you what's called a staging server or a staging installation, so you can go ahead, test an update on your site before you then actually apply it to the live site. So that's Easy Updates Manager.
Great. Okay, that's brilliant. So you're going to nag me.
I am.
Oh,
it's time. It's time.
It's time. We've got no monkey. Where's the monkey?
I did, but I think Lee was too interesting.
I was watching Lee rather than watching you. Sorry. The monkey means it's time. Monkey time. Okay, so we really do need to draw this to an end, but I would love to thank my guests that have come in on today. So big high five to Lee. Thank you very much for joining us. Lee, where can people connect with you?
On leejacksondev.com. Come and have a chat. And also Lee Jackson Dev on Twitter would be awesome. I love chatting to people socially as well. There's my website. Go check it out. Get in touch about anything. Even if you've got a WordPress question, I love helping people.
So he's not always in his coding cave.
No, I usually am.
And high five for Paul as well. Please give Paul some love. Paul, where can people connect with you?
Yeah, NN-Connect is the main website for me. You can go there. I'll publish the link in a minute. And also on Twitter, it's NN_Connect. So, yeah, happy to connect with people and engage them on social media.
Fantastic. And if Kevin would like to hop back in just to tell people where you can connect with you, Kevin, here he is.
What?
Can
you hear me?
Hello.
He's alive.
He's alive. So
can you hear me?
give him some love.
Yes.
Look at that, 470.
Okay, Oh, that's very nice. Look at those going up. Yeah, basically we're 13 Media Arts on all the platforms. You just, if you look for us, we're at 13 Media Arts on Twitter and et cetera on Facebook. So 13 Media Arts will usually find us. And we love followers. We love a chat. Come along. Yeah, talk to us.
There was that really funny noise then. These are really good. What is that noise?
It was Paul. It was Paul. Don't say anything.
What was that noise, Paul?
It's not me.
He always says that.
Very often in a day, yeah. You can't prove anything.
He just did what he normally does, and he went like that to Christina.
I wouldn't dare do that to Christina.
It sounded like, one of those door things where you go ping, like that stops the door.
All right.
I don't know why I'm pointing at the door, but we haven't got one in there.
I don't think it was this end.
Nothing to do with me. I'm in a soundproof room.
Maybe it's someone letting Kevin out the cupboard.
That's what it is.
That's not something that happens very often. Nobody lets him out.
Probably best.
Unless he's going to an NN Connect meeting.
Oh, that's good. You can let him out for that.
I can't deny any of these things.
We've just got time just to quickly wrap up, just to let you know, say a big thank you to the lovely Christina for joining us and keeping us all on tabs today and keeping us to time, which is so, so important. The next Blab is going to be on the 22nd of December. We've got 3 guest speakers. I haven't actually confirmed with them all yet, but I've asked them. I'm just waiting for them to get back to us, so it might change. We've got Simon Kensington Fellows. Can you hear that? No, perhaps it's just in my ear. Sorry, Simon Kensington Fellows, who's again another specialist in SEO. We've got Jackie Jarvis. She's absolutely a ball of energy. She's a published author as well, specialising in sales and marketing. And we've got the lovely Alan Hester, who's like a leadership and development manager as well. So anyway, that's me signing off for another week. Please join us again next time. Click subscribe so you get notifications of any of these new blabs that are coming up. Hopefully it wasn't too mad for you all, and we'll see you again soon. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Christina. See you,
Bye.
Kevin.
See you later.
Take care, Rob. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Missing you more.